Right. It's 29th of August. I'm out here, Lake Victory, Fremont Lakes, doing a little bit of carp fishing. I'm gonna show you what I do a little bit. I've got two Zebco 888s with me, both on heavier action rods. One's actually a Zebco Rhino rod with a double trigger, and I have a Zebco one on a medium heavy rod. I brought that, the one, just as backup. That's what I caught my last carp on, but it is on light line, 10 pounds. And I'm gonna fish the bigger rods and reels simply for the fact that these larger size carp dough balls that I use in my pack for pack bait, they're quite heavy, and it really does take a heavy rod with a heavy line to chuck these things out where they need to be. Now, where I'm fishing here, out here, is, I mean, you probably get depth ranges anywhere from, you know, just a gradual out to maybe 12-13 feet, but it's a real gradual drop, so it's a lot of slow declining flats. So the carp are coming up on this sand bottom, and they're nosing around on the bottom looking for food. So I'm just going to kind of toss my dough baits at a medium depth range, what I think are going to be the intermediate areas that the carp are swimming around looking for food, and hope that I hook up. So I'm gonna get started, get baited up, and tune in. Hopefully I catch some fish. Be all set, just a waiting game now. How sure, like, exactly good you'll be able to see this in the video, but this is one thing you want to look for when you're picking your fishing spots. I can tell there's a lot of bait fish. I'm seeing a lot of swirls right at the surface out in front of me. There's a lot of bait fish. There's a school over there, something swirling. There is a lot of fish in this area, which means there are going to be potentially larger, more predatory fish, or just larger fish in general. Follow the bait, find the fish. Just turning the camera on. I've literally been here less than 15 minutes. All the clips you probably see before this have just happened in like the last 5 or 10 minutes. This pole has already just got bumped. My line got pulled, and then it went slightly slack. So I'm waiting to see if something actually grabs one of my hooks with corn on it and takes off. Hopefully it'll happen right while I got the camera rolling. I'll usually give it about like 5 minutes, and then tighten up my line a little bit to where it was. Oh, there it just moved again. This could be a fish pecking at my dough bait, because they sometimes will nibble and hit that dough ball before they actually pick up one of the two hooks that I have corn kernels tipped on. So just a matter of time before he grabs some corn that's laying right by that dough ball. There's a lot of fish activity in here though. Just bait fish all over. The other day I caught 2 catfish before I finally caught a carp, so with the amount of bait fish that are in here, I wouldn't be surprised to see some catfish biting right now, especially because it's still fairly early morning, only about, I'd say probably 8:30, 9 o'clock at the latest. Well, that was 2 nibbles. Waiting to see. I mean, it very well could be bait fish nibbling at my dough ball, as far as I know. I did cast it out maybe 30 yards or so, hopefully to be beyond the range of, you know, where the most the bait fish would be. Your bluegills and such usually tend to hang out, and I'd say less than 4 to 5 feet of water, unless they're in a really big school or something. Something just broke the surface right there. Alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and just tighten up my slack a little bit here on this rhino rod and shut the camera off for a minute and see if we actually do get a bite on it. I was hoping it was going to bend here, but so far nothing, and I don't like to keep people watching when there ain't any action. Stay tuned. Fish on the pack bait on the 2-trigger rhino rod. We got him. Don't know what it is. It's running towards me now. Put a pretty good bend in the rod. He kept nibbling for a minute. The way it's rolling, I'm suspecting a catfish here. You can see all the bait fish get stirred up right here in front of me where he's at. Yeah, it looks like a decent sized catfish. Corn pack bait. Hopefully he's in the shot as I bring him up. Yeah, he's rolling around. He's hooked. Should be able to just grab this guy. Shouldn't need the net. Alright. Come here, guy. Come here. And I got you. Right there. It's a good size one. I'm gonna guess maybe 16 inches. Let's see. What do we got? We got a hook here on the outside of the lip. Out. We got one in the mouth. In the lip. Come here, quit biting me. Let me get it out. Ow, he's biting me. Making this more difficult, fish. Alright, we're gonna have to try a different angle here. Let me see. Come on, guy, quit biting me. Oh, man, I cannot get my fingers in there because he's biting down so hard. He's bleeding a little bit. Oh, man, if he would just let up, quit biting. Ow! There, it's out. But he's still biting my line. Okay. Well, I don't know. It's as long as my tackle box. I don't really know if I need to pull the tape measure out and measure him. Got a real strong, looks like his lateral line right there. Alright, I better get him back in the water though for a release. I bet he's about 16 inches. Okay. Let him recover here for a second. Oh no, he's gone right into the trees. And here he goes. He's taking off. The catfish do like the corn pack bait. I'd hate to see what would happen if I used my back bait recipe out of liver or something like that. I bet I should actually try that some night. Come out here night fishing. I bet it would do wonders, maybe even under a night bobber. Oh man, he was slimy. Alright, I'm gonna bait that one back up. Hopefully at some point this one gets a nibble. That rhino rod was getting nibbles all morning, and I was just waiting for the right time for for it to bend where I know I got a hook set. Alright, I'm gonna bait up. Stay tuned. Just a tip, that catfish, I'd been getting nibbles on this rod for a few minutes before the camera actually got turned on and hooked up with a fish. Don't be jumpy when you're fishing this pack bait. The point of the pack bait is to dissolve slowly underwater and leave a bait pile around your hooks with the corn on it. And what that fish was doing was, I'd get a small jerk nibble, which he was hitting the dough ball, and he was attacking that dough ball, probably taking pieces off of it in those small little nibbles. And I just waited and waited and waited until finally I knew he had my bait in his mouth, when my pole finally actually bent and stayed bent and my alarm sounded. That's when you want to grab your pole. You know, I've seen a lot of people. It's happening right now. I just got another bump. That's cool. Happened right there while the camera was rolling. I'll get my alarm to shut off here. But that's what I'm talking about. Don't get jumpy with this pack bait. Just wait and wait and wait until that pole finally starts to bend over, because then you know the fish has got a hook in him. Pick it up, set it, catch it. That's my tip. This is another fish on the 2 Zebco rhino rod. Seem to be getting catfish on this bait a lot, and I'm not sure what this is yet. It might be another catfish. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it's a catfish. I knew by the way it was hanging down low. Let's see if you guys get the camera in there. But once again, this fish was hitting, and I had to wait for him to really get a hook in him, because he was nibbling at that dough ball. I'm gonna walk out here and pick him up. Oh, no you won't. No you don't, guy. Come here. Alright, gotcha. Man, that's 2 fish within about 20 minutes. Got one hook out, the other hook's right in the corner of the mouth. Should come out fairly easy compared to that last fish. Come on. There we go. It's out. Ooh. Get away from me. But yeah, guys, I mean, these are the size of the fish I'm catching. You can see still got spots on him, so pretty cool Peeble pattern fish. Last one was a little bit bigger, I think, but still probably about in the 16-inch range. Wow, he's got a lot of fight in him. But go ahead, let the guy go. But yeah, he nibbled and nibbled and nibbled, and like I said, you don't want to get too jumpy at the first little nibble. You want to wait. And he actually made my line drop back towards me a couple times, and I readjusted it very gently and tightened it up, and then finally I could tell by the way it was bending and staying bent that he got a hook in him, and so that's when I picked up my rod and set it and started fighting him. There he goes. Please, please, catch and release. That's what I like to do, man. These fish need to stay in here and keep breathing, keep getting bigger. Oh man, I was holding my camera the wrong way. Man, that probably didn't turn out that good. Alright, stay tuned. Alright, rhino rod, still getting messed with. The yellow pole, got a nibble on it a few minutes ago. I thought I might have a chance at a double, but I think I got another catfish here. Judging by the way this thing was nibbling and the way he's coming in. No, it's a carp. It's a carp finally. Not a big one. But yeah, he was pecking at my bait, and he finally got it. Got a bite out of him. He knows he's caught. He's mad. Might need the net for this guy. Walk under my pole here. they tend to flip out once they know they're caught. Stay in the rod holder. Okay. Looks to be a buffalo carp. He won't open his mouth, so I can get this hook out. Right in the corner of the mouth. That's the only hook in him. Let's see. Alright. Well, guys, this is what I was fishing for. I finally got one. He isn't that big. Maybe 15 inches or so. I don't know. He is a chunky fish though. They are fun. I'd like to get on a bigger one. I'm going to keep trying. It's about, I don't know, it's got to be getting close to 11:30 in the morning. The fish are still biting. There's still a ton of bait fish back here. And this is really, really a great lake. Victory Lake, when there's not a ton of boaters on it, is a really good lake. I'm going to let him go. Something's hitting my yellow pole right now. Nope. Oh yeah, I got something. Oh yeah, I got something. This is cool. This is after I let my fish go. Got another fish. Looking towards this little catfish. So, you can do it with the corn pack bait, man, catfish or carp. Here's another little guy. This guy's maybe 12 inches, but still catching fish back here, which is really, really good. Let's see if I can get in frame here. Get this hook out of this guy. When you're fishing, I don't know what size hook this is, and this rig came from like Bulgaria. I ordered it off of Amazon. It took me a while to get it in the mail. Really good rigs. If you see a rig like this, it's kind of tangled up right now, but it's like a spring cage. These hooks are stout hooks. They will hold up to a big fish. I mean, there's only been one time I've had a carp snap my hook off, and it must have been a massive carp to do that. All right, gonna put this guy back. Now I got two poles to untangle and bait up, guys. Stay tuned. I know I've said it enough times in this video, but like I said, man, that all started by me thinking I was going to double up about 15-20 minutes ago when they both started getting nibbled on. And I waited it out and I waited it out, and the black rhino rod with the 888 on it, it just stayed steady. It kept little flitches every now and then, you know, and these fish are sitting there pecking at that dough ball. I know they are. And eventually that carp sucked up the corn. And that's what I want to happen. The catfish are doing the same thing. You know, so if you fish with this method, man, my advice is just to wait for that rod to bend, even a slight bend, but stay bent. And that's when they're on. That's how you know. Don't get jumpy with these little quick wraps at the end of your line, you know, or at the end of your pole. I mean, if it's a good fish and they're hooked, that pole should at least bend a little bit, depending on the size of the fish, and stay bent. You know, unless the fish starts to run towards you, in case, you know, which we call a drop back bite. But that case, you know, the alarms I'm using will not work on a drop back bite. But you just got to keep your lines tight when you set your bait out there, and keep a good eye on your line. And if you notice it goes slack all of a sudden, that's a drop back bite. So, all right, guys, I am literally had a phenomenal morning out here so far. It is just 11:30, and honestly, I'm almost out of bait. I brought probably 2 pounds of pack bait with me, and I'm running out. Like I'm down to almost the last of it. I can rebait maybe one more time, one more rod, if not maybe 2. But I'm gonna keep fishing until I'm out of bait, and I don't think it's gonna be very long before that happens. So stay tuned, keep checking it out. I want to give a shout out to the guys at the Zebco collectors page. I fished with a lot of Abu Garcia bait casters, Shimano bait casters. Big bite. All right, that interrupted my little spiel there, but that was a pretty good bite right there. That's the biggest one I've had on this yellow rod. But finish what I'm saying, shout out to the Zebco guys. They made a catalog online of all the models of Zebcos. I fished with a lot of different types of reels before, and it's the last, I'd say, 2 years I've really gotten into Zebco. You know, there a lot of people that think they're just basic cheap reels, but at one time they were standout best reels around. I mean, especially your older Zebcos, metal bodied ones, metal foot ones. I mean, the American made ones are great, and I love the Zebco collectors page on Facebook, and I love the Zebco catalog vault, man. So shout out to Cody Vignal for getting that catalog up, and all the guys that helped him. That was great. I've been staring at it for like the last 2 days. So stay tuned. I'm gonna hopefully catch another fish here real quick. Guys, as you can tell, I'm back in my truck. I want to give a shout out again to the Zebco collectors page on Facebook. Check them out. Also, the Zebco catalog vault. That is a really good resource for information. I got into Zebcos like a little over a year ago. I fished a lot of different rods and reel types, from bait casters to, you know, open face spinning rods. I just fell in love with Zebco because the older American made Zebcos, when you take them apart, you can see how well built they are. They are just phenomenal. And like today I was fishing with 2 888s that are somewhere in the 90s. They're from, I mean, so they got some age to them. They're made in USA. Great reels, man. I would put them up against anything, that modern reel that you could spend as much money as you want on it. I'd put my reels up against yours any day of the week. I would also love for somebody to take me in a fishing tournament as a co-angler, and I would love to just fish a tournament with nothing but Zebcos one time, just to see what I could actually do. I mean, I don't need super expensive setups to catch fish. And honestly, these reels, the reason they're still around and I'm still using reels that are 20, 30, 40 years old is because they were American made, and they were made awesome. So check out the Zebco collectors page on Facebook and the Zebco catalog vault if you are getting into Zebcos. I recommend it. Thanks.